Welcome to the Squad Games Podcast. Squad Games Podcast.
Welcome, everybody. You're listening to the Squad Games Podcast live. Today is a live episode. We have some really special stuff for you today.
We have not missed a week in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then we missed like 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
Mostly because I'm sick.
Yes. Hey, you're recovering a lot more. You know, we want you to be healthy for LVO because come LVO time.
I'll be healthy in 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
In 10 days, I'm sure.
I'm guaranteed. You're already sounding better, and I've been talking to you these last 2 weeks, so I can attest to that. It's been a lot of fun, you know, getting up to this point because, I think we already announced it on the Discord, but we'll say it here.
LVO has sold out.
Yay!
The largest kill team event in the world. Officially, no more tickets are being sold.
Heck yes.
There's a waiting list, so that's exciting. It's very exciting.
We'll give you the ad code. Just kidding. This isn't college.
I know. Today, what we'll be doing while doing our podcast, right, is painting our Black Templar team that we are giving away.
Yes.
So as you can see, I'll pop it over to my guys.
Ooh, very nice.
Got a couple guys over here that we've already been painting, right, for the Black Templars. And Giacomo is also painting, as we can all see it.
There you go.
So we're going to be painting these guys up while we talk. We can talk about this. We can talk about LVO.
We'll take some
talk about
questions.
Kill Team. Unfortunately, I've been sick for a long time, and apparently so have the Kill Team developers for the data slate.
Seriously, it is a dry. We are living in the desert right now, guys.
Desert. Like Giacomo was like, "What do you want to talk about?" I was like, "I don't want to talk about anything." Like I literally,
what's there to say?
I don't want to talk about Kill Team until there's a data slate. Like I literally want to just wipe the existence of Kill Team off of my
with your data slate that's not there. That's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, we'll have to see what the developers decide to do. I am still under the impression that I believe it is coming before LVO. Hopefully it comes out tomorrow or on Wednesday or on Thursday. Our cutoff date is supposed to be Saturday, but there's another problem that we have, Giacomo. Another big problem.
What is that problem?
Let me clean my brush as I prepared a monologue.
Prepared a monologue, he says.
So everyone wants a digital rule set.
Yes.
Right? Everyone does. And unfortunately, how is this possible? My thing does not update. I cannot get anyone's new messages.
I could not tell you why that is.
To goodness gracious.
Look at the cliffhanger. Just leaving everybody, hoping to God that they get to know what the big problem is.
All right. So the big problem with Kill Team currently in a digital rule set that no one has ever thought of because it's never been a problem until LVO. What if they don't update LVO this week? Typically, the TO will be like, hey, guess what? That's fine. We're just not going to use the most recent data slate.
Right.
Which is dumb. But, you know, like it is what it is. There's not enough time. People are already flown in, yada, yada. Well, with a digital rule set, people have phones that automatically update their apps. So if they update it into the middle of next week, we still have to play with the data slate.
Those are the most up-to-date rules you will have in the app.
We have to, because there will be certain people who just update the app. So that's like playing League of Legends and having people on the most recent patch and people not on the most recent patch. We're not Riot Games where we can force our professional players to go back a patch and force them to play on something old because I'm not Games Workshop. They don't have that functionality in their own app, right?
Yeah.
So imagine if you're an event organizer, there's no more 2 weeks thing. You can say we're not using brand new teams for 2 weeks. You can say this, you can say that. You can say we're not going to use an FAQ. But anything that is going to get updated digitally, you kind of have to use. Imagine if they do it in the middle of an event.
Like day 2, hey, everything was updated.
One thing you could say is like, hey, do not update your phones, right? Like if Google forces you to update your phone, it's happened to me in the middle of like a TFT game. Oh my gosh. Fuck. But like, hopefully you can, you can stop it. Jeez.
You got a little bit of the cough. Do what you can. I've had the cough on the show before. It happens.
Yeah. I've had every virus known to man. Seasonal virus. Seasonal. Not. Let's not get it twisted.
His venereal diseases are off the charts.
Yeah. So is it this one?
I don't know. Whichever way you want.
Yeah.
Pick left or right.
So where there's a huge debacle if things don't happen this week and they happen next week. It's going to cause feels bads, and there's not much that I think that I can do about it.
Yeah. What are we supposed to do? Just got to tell people that's the newest rules.
I can email people. But I can also tell you when I email people as a TO, sometimes they just go into the bin. Or some people are just like, oh, like my team got better. I'm going to update the app anyways. You know, like what am I, and be like, all right, like you got to print out your rules now?
No one's going to do that.
Am I going to send that as a last minute documentation? Are we, as a community, are we going to have to force printouts of your teams on a specific date?
I'd hope not.
Like we might have to. You know, like that might be the only thing that you can do. But then what if people don't have access to printers?
That's what I'm saying. They're just going to have whatever they have. What if they miss the email? Then they're just like, well, I updated it while I was here and now I'm stuck, right?
Yeah.
Like that's one of those, like, how do you force that? And I don't think you can. I think that's mostly just on the company themselves to update things in a timely manner when they know there's giant events.
Yeah.
That's all we can hope for, right?
We can hope for it, Giacomo. We can hope.
Will we get it?
Probably not.
I mean, I'm hoping we get the balanced data slate, right? I'm hoping this is just a simple worry and that it's not actually a problem. And everyone can play at LVO to the best of their abilities with the newest rules that they have access to. Since, again, this is the biggest kill team event
in the world
right?
ever.
Yeah, right now.
Ever.
174
players.
Huge.
But I mean, it is just like there's like another wrinkle, you know. There's not LVO never happens without something.
There's always a hitch. Gotta have one. You know?
First year, I had a flood. Second year, I had a fire. This year, I have the plague.
You have the flu. I love it. And
we have a digital rule set. It's been rather frustrating.
A blessing and a curse, you know, 2 in 1.
Yeah.
I'm going to get the second layer of brown on this leather now. So I got my first one on.
Let's go to you real quick.
Yeah, let's see what we can, as much as you can see of the color. I'm going to place that there. I think the camera might have moved a little bit, but that's all right.
Definitely did. Looks like it moved.
Definitely did. You know, the weight of the camera and some of that just moves. Not a big deal. It's leather. It's brown. You know what brown looks like.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
But with that note, I am excited that 174, different people are going to get to experience Kill Team, whether they're doing it from the narrative or they're doing it from the grand tournament. Both are awesome, and I can really appreciate that.
Let's try that again, Giacomo.
We're going to zoom in.
Hands.
There you go. Now you can see what I'm kind of working on. Well, dark doesn't really show up against dark, but I got a bunch of leather happening in this section over here.
What model are you painting?
I'm painting the sniper.
The sniper.
Yes, that is the Eliminator from the Justian team, specifically for the Black Templars that we are working on for the raffle at LVO.
Yeah.
So if you are an LVO, you can get yourself a team of these wonderfully painted models that are in progress right now. You're seeing it happen live. I hit a model. Nice.
I am currently edge highlighting the final 3 black armors from my team. Is there anyone that's asked any pertinent questions about LVO that we can answer? Because I am also going to pull up our maps and layouts that we're going to be using for LVO.
So you can take a look and hopefully get a feel for that and get ready, start practicing. I did like this one. Moon Truther here. On one hand, I get what you're saying, and that is rough when it comes to like the changes of the rules, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm worried about it. On the other hand, Jimmy Kelly getting nerfed halfway through a tournament is kind of funny. Like, do you imagine just day 2? Oh yeah, Legionnaires don't work like that anymore.
I don't think. I think we have a lot more control while at an event. I don't think anything will happen like mid-event.
No, I don't think so either. It's
I'm
just
just
funny.
worried about other things at other different times.
Oh, why is this part leather? It's okay, I can get it. It's a small part, but I've worked on small pieces before. Nothing I haven't done. I think we did get a question. If I own a set of Volcus, is that something that would be helpful for me to bring to LVO for all to use? We do appreciate it,
We do.
Moon Truther, but we do have terrain pretty much set. We're really close to completing everything, so we do appreciate it. Thank you. Feel free to use your terrain, though, once you see the new map layouts and start practicing that. If you want to, have a little bit of an edge, always can have an edge.
Yeah, the only thing is if the lasers don't get back up and running because of Glowforge, it's literally a problem on Glowforge.
We're waiting on Glowforge.
They're literally stuck on a certain mode called focusing, and they do not move.
Oh, no.
So you turn them on, and they just don't move. It's rather ridiculous.
You gotta love Glowforge.
No. In fact, if I could ever give a disclaimer to anyone who's ever looking to start a laser company, never go with Frontline, not Frontline, never go with Full Spectrum Laser from Nevada, and never go with Glowforge. If you're looking to do it just as a hobby, then sure, use Glowforge is great for hobby stuff. But, lasers break down. If you don't have additional income to do that kind of stuff, it's absolutely a nightmare. I could do a whole ad video as to why to not start a laser company, to say the least. But
that's a different gripe for a different day. I am sorry that it happened, though.
Yeah.
We did get another question.
Sure.
This one's from Samoan Matt.
Okay.
Any crit up missions not being used? So I think it's easier to do which ones we are using.
Correct. We have 5 missions that we will be using at LVO.
Again, that is 5.
One of them is touch and go. Like, we might use it, we might not. We'll probably publish the missions the day before. Okay. We'll be sending out emails, so make sure that if you are attending LVO, you don't unblock my email address. Mark me as a trusted source.
That is a Squad Games, right?
Squad Games Entertainment or Dakotah@gmail.com. One
Cool.
of the two. Yeah, so we will be using transmission, coordinates, loot, secure, and possibly power surge.
Gotcha.
We will not be using the ding dong missions. Secure.
Wait, no, we are using.
No. Sorry. Sabotage.
Sabotage. There you go.
Extraction and intel. And I think there's one more.
Upload. Yeah. Which again, the missions, they're playable, but they're just kind of like
you have to have reading levels above 6th grade, which I do not. So if you don't actively have a good reading comprehension, those missions struggle. And also they do skew more in the favor of players who read the rules and play the game a lot.
Right.
There are tons of people coming to the LVO who have never, ever played in a tournament.
Right. This is the first time.
Yeah. Or they haven't played in a tournament for this edition. And so when you release packets early, when you release, maps, or you release certain things early, you will continually see a wider gap variation between people who are really good at the game and practice the game a lot compared to people who don't, right? Who are like brand new, right?
Right.
So there, that's one reason as to why we're holding on to the map pack a little bit. Also, I'm sick as a dog, right? I've been sick as a dog, if you can't tell.
Voice.
Yeah, my voice is oh so cheery.
A little hoarse, if you will.
Yeah, a little bit. So, that's rather unfortunate to be sick, but it's also rather unfortunate that we, don't necessarily, I haven't had the time to necessarily put out new Volcus stuff. Here's another thing. When we go through the Volcus maps tonight, you will see that most maps are just Games Workshop maps. I changed some objectives. I might have rotated a building for open. Our Into the Dark maps are our own Into the Dark maps, so you don't have to worry about playing on really, really bad Into the
Really
Dark maps.
laney
In my
ones.
opinions,
I would agree.
so there is that. But I felt like it was unfair, really unfair for me as a TO to force people to play on maps that have never been played on, to play on maps that we're still trying to understand the edition, right? Most players are still trying to understand how the game is supposed to be played. In fact, when I designed maps, there's a whole thing on. I made a couple innately bad maps because I did something wrong, innately wrong. Something that's innately wrong is you have objectives. Here's a kill team map, right? Let's go overhead real quick.
There we go.
So here's an overhead.
We got 2 squares.
So for the podcast listener, I'll try to signify as much as possible, right? So Giacomo's deployment zone is away from me. My deployment zone is my way. We both have hot dog deployment zones.
Right.
Okay, no more pizzas, unfortunately, or nachos or
Triangles.
So if I have 3 models that are objectives, I put 1 dead center in the map. Okay?
Right.
This is probably one of the best placements. Okay?
Yep.
If you have another one over here,
Yep.
and another one over here. This is typically how a Games Workshop map is designed. You have 1 on your side, then you have the middle, and you have the 1 on the other side in your opponent's territory, okay? Shaped in a line. Okay, you can also do it this way. This is the most linear, functional way that you can start and have objectives on a map. If you do this, and you bring your your middle objective closer to your side, and then you have to choose one side to put into the middle of the map. Let's say we choose this side. Let's say we choose my right-hand side. I can deploy my entire team in this corner of the deployment zone,
Right.
and I can attack mine and the middle one, while the opponent has to split their forces and go here and here. Innately, no matter what the terrain is, I will always have the stronger side. So if you see objectives like this, the map is typically bad. The only other way that you can have a 3 objective map that has balanced objectives is if they're in a triangle. So you have 1 in the middle, on the middle line, and then you have 1 here and you have 1 here. This forces both teams to split up entirely or to focus on one side of the map and ignore the other side. Right? This is the only other mathematically safe version of objective layouts. You can't do this
because then you just have the other problem right there.
Same problem, right? And unfortunately, in map design, it's very linear now. Everything is extremely linear. So there's really only 3 ways. You have this one, and that one. That's it.
Right.
Literally, that's it. Okay. Innately, that's the problem with map design. And Volcus has a bigger one because the terrain pieces are so massive and so big. You can only make so many maps.
With those strongholds.
You can only make so many because they're so big. If you have small little modular pieces like we used to have, or Octarius pieces, you can have more functionality, right? But not anymore. So it would be unfair for me as a TO to force players to play on a map that is firstly unfair, which Games Workshop has one, which is their map 6 on Volcus, which we changed. Okay. And then there's a couple others, right?
Right.
Let me see if I can pull up the other maps.
Map time, guys. Map time.
You can get a nice close-up of my head here.
Yes. And again, Moon Truther, you're right. Like you said, you won 2 out of 3 of your games by choosing the board with the middle objective closer to you. It's just you can get to it faster and you can start doing the mission faster. Loomis over here is used to playing uphill. And for those listening to the podcast later, we're talking to the chat right now because this was live at the time of the recording.
Yeah, it looks like Gimp is going to have a nightmare opening.
Gonna love that. Gotta love that. Variety and maps are always fun.
Is there anyone else who's had any other questions as I'm pulling this up?
And you can ask us questions about LVO, what to expect, now that everything's a little more solid, finalized, whether you're playing in the grand tournament or whether you're playing the narrative. We have that all going down. I have to start moving on to the highlight layer of the leather now.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's fun.
Are you doing all of them at once, G?
I'm doing the guy that's here and all the leather parts on him because I already got him, and I could figure, we'll be doing this for a few days, so I can afford to do like a guy mostly in a day. And again, the leather won't be too long. I never got it to do that. At LVO, are we having a full split, meaning the third day will be a separate bracket? That is the question.
What are they asking? What do you mean?
So Loomis is asking, at LVO, are we having a full split? Meaning third day will be a separate bracket.
A separate bracket?
I think referring
Loomis,
to...
can you please clarify?
Elaborate, yes.
I'll just put these all into the squad games. Currently, I'm going to put all of these into the squad games.
A top 8 bracket type thing.
No, we will not be having a top 8 bracket. Everyone keeps asking that. I don't know why people want it, Loomis. The answer is no. There will be no top 8 bracket. It's like the Super Bowl, guys.
Like a top.
We have the NFC and we have the AFC. They play each other on 2 days, and then we have the Super Bowl day when everyone comes together and they all play against each other.
I love his comment. He doesn't want it. He doesn't want it. He was just asking you, jerk. Okay. We have another question. Are we going to be in the same room this year?
No, we will not be in the same room, supposedly, but I have not been given the map for LVO, so I don't know where they're going to put us.
Yes.
We have sold out now, so there's only so many places that they can put us.
Yep.
Right.
They know how many people they have to put in the room, so that's on them.
Yeah. Okay, so I put everything into our Squad Games Discord. I'm going to put this over to here, and I'm going to pull up.
What's the channel under for the maps?
It's going to be under announcements.
Under announcements. So if everyone's on the Squad Games Discord, you can check announcements to look at the maps. And we'll walk you through it right now, and you're going to see it. The man himself will run you through how he designs them and what he thinks works well about them.
Okay. So this is one of the maps. This is a GW-specific layout. The only thing that I did, I forget which layout this is for our podcast listeners. You're going to have to bear with us for a minute. I took a singular stronghold and I rotated it. And that's what I did.
Simple. You made it so that you can get through it easier.
Yes.
Yes, it's not as defendable.
Our next map is the map 6 on Vulcus. This one has the problem where innately one side, in this case it would be orange side, would have been more powerful. This center objective is over here, and this one is in the middle. So this side, you could really force the left-hand side, while the blue side would have to attack or try to go up the middle. So in this case, I moved this one far to the left. And as you can see on our maps, white is light, black is heavy, and F is for fire step. It's a vantage, right? Gray is also a vantage. So on this one, we changed it just slightly. We put the objective in the middle, objective over here, and equidistant on the other side. I made it so that it could be assaulted from outside of the what is this thing called? Stronghold, and inside the stronghold.
There you go.
The next map is a GW map. This one's famous because it's the final game that
Dan and can't remember his
Javier?
name. Javier?
it
Yeah,
Javier?
I believe it was Javier.
Yeah.
Forgive us if we're
the
wrong.
final match at Worlds was very slow
4
because
hours.
they could sit in their own respective strongholds on coordinates, and they only needed to really maximize the last turn to get up and steal a point away. So on this one, I moved out the objectives. I put them out of the strongholds. The strongholds both have strong play into their own side's objectives. So this side can protect this side. This one can shoot off and protect this one. And I also have advantage right here who can shoot right here. So these are still relatively strong and protected, but they're easier to get to so that it doesn't feel like every match is just who can assault the stronghold better, because that is boring.
Absolutely.
Moving on to our next map, we have another GW standard map. I tried to make it so that people could see these objectives do stick out from the from inside. They are drawn that way. They are meant to play that way because Volcus has walls that go in and out. So do our terrain does the same functions very similarly. This is just a GW map. I think the one that I played Striking Scorpions into Giacomo's Vespids and got annihilated.
Oh, yes.
Yes. This map I hate. I functionally hate, but I left it in because it's a GW map. This one really annoys me because a lot of Legionary players just put an anointed inside the center behind the door, and you can't get in, nor can you score take ground or anything like that. It's very annoying. But there's no real way to fix this map. Our bastions are smaller than GW's than anyone else's map. Than GW's bastions or light ruins, I should say. And then finally, we have another GW map. This one is just copied out of the book. We have one more type of terrain. We have open terrain that will be used at LVO. This is made out of a bunch of bastions because we have a lot to play with.
Yes.
So they are functionally the same objectives, but one thing you will notice is that these bastions are these strongholds are 8 by 8 and 7 by 8 instead of 6 by 8. So there's a couple variations. It does change the way the games play a little bit. A lot of the what are these called? There are gaps in the walls.
There you go.
That have this kind of stuff. So models can get in. You don't have to climb in to get into them. I'm sure that will make dwarves happy. So that should be good. I functionally think that this is going to be a real big hit. I think it's going to be really useful. On these ones, I did change the objective layout a little bit, specifically because this one comes over an inch this way. So I made it so it's a little bit harder for each one to be assaulted. There are 2 doors on every stronghold and multiple ways to get in. So they're functionally less safe. We have this one, which is the exact same as before. Yes, so these, if you want to check them out, they're on Squad Games. They will be on squadgames.net before LVO, but I have to heal up a little bit and figure out some other stuff before we get in. So let's see if we can. No, not that one. There we go.
There we go.
Okay.
And we're back at it again. We did get a few questions.
Okay.
So I'm going to pull some of them up right now. This one from Gamer Geek Jason.
Geek Jason.
Yes. Do you have a rules FAQ where you clarify rulings in the absence of GW making a clarification? So as an example, Warp Coven's Temporal Flux and the Psychic Cabal combo, where like you might need an FAQ if they don't make one. Will there be one like that?
So are they asking if you can do the 9 inches?
Yeah,
spell?
Clarifications basically, just in case GW doesn't clarify the rules interaction between 2 things, I think.
So you can ask in Squad Games Discord, and I will answer your questions. Okay. to the best of my ability.
And
if
again,
I don't know, trust me, I'll figure it out, or I know people who are smarter than me who will figure it out.
there you go.
Okay. Also, there is an FAQ on the packet, which I guess we can go through.
We can pull up the packet here, Pappet. And Mr. Nafla is asking, will there be banana bread? If you bring it yourself.
Yeah, we can't.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I cannot provide banana bread.
Not that much at that capacity. We're not sponsored by like Bimbo yet or something. I don't know. Bimbo makes banana bread, right? Bimbo. I don't know. Or Hostess. I think no, Bimbo bought Hostess. I don't even know anymore.
I don't know what the fuck are you talking about?
Do you have a map key for this scatter?
We will.
We will.
It'll be in its own packet.
Yes.
On the Squad Games website. Okay. So a lot of these questions were questions given to Games Workshop for Worlds. So a lot of these are just copied and pasted from there. There are a couple extra that I added in. So we have question. So this is a good spot to look. Okay. This is place number 7. Some of the other things that I added so far. Can a model use fly to move greater than 2 inches on counteract action? The answer is no. A model cannot ever. You can never move more than 2 inches. That is how it's supposed to be. I don't care what your model says. No teleports greater than 2 inches. If you're Necron faction, I don't care. Not going to happen. Not at LVO. I'm sure Games Workshop is going to fix it eventually. If you try to do it, I'm going to give you a yellow card. And I'll tell everyone else beforehand, don't try to be that guy or girl. Okay? Can a model draw visibility through itself? Yes. Can a model wholly be within your territory within and beyond the center line? Yes. So will plastic equipment markers be allowed at this? Only a 20 millimeter mark, 20 millimeter tokens will be acceptable for LVO. Just like Worlds, just like everything else. Okay. So go ahead, take a gander through this. We'll kind of go from there. All right. Okay.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah. We have any other questions, Giacomo?
None that have come up so far.
No, that's good.
So, I'm sure they'll keep trickling in as we talk more about it. Yes,
but yes, if you have questions and you want them clarified, as long as the data slate will overrule anything that I say. Okay.
Right.
As long as we get a data slate. Okay. Now, otherwise, what I rule in the Squad Games, I will try to grab all those snippets and put them into the packet so that they're easier for people to understand.
To find later.
Yada, yada. Yeah. Good question, though. It's a very good question. Okay. Just don't be that guy trying to fly, and I won't have to be a mean guy.
Yeah, and fly is usually very specific. You move the distance you're supposed to move. So
yeah, well, it's specifically on counteract, right?
So so if you reposition fly, it's still 2 inches because that's all you get.
Yeah, or like when the Necron, the Necrons have a thing where they can teleport.
Right, exactly.
Right, or the Shade Runner from Corsairs.
Same thing.
Right,
moving through walls. If you're within 2 inches to move through walls, I guess, but that's it. Which is fun to think about. The Shade Runners can go through into the dark walls. That's an interesting one. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Let's be real. Who's actually bringing Vespids? That is a good point. I don't think I know anyone who's bringing.
Well, if they get buffed, if the data slate comes out tomorrow, or the data slate comes out on Wednesday or Thursday, and they get buffed into the stratosphere, why wouldn't you take them? Okay, and if they don't touch them, I don't blame you for not taking them.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah.
I guess it's a good sign for people to, consider having maybe one or two teams in mind in the event that their other team either gets nuked to the ground or, the second team is...
if you are planning to come to LVO in any sort of a competitive fashion, I would bring multiple teams. I would plan right now on bringing multiple teams. It's really unfortunate that we've had to wait this long to get a data slate. I really thought it would be out sooner.
At least last year. I was hoping even the end of December, Christmas gift, you didn't get it at all. We must have been naughty.
The Kill Team scene has been very naughty, apparently.
Very naughty. You naughty children. Why are they like this?
So, Giacomo, what else have we been working on for LVO? Well, there's another cool thing. We're going to have a raffle. We're going to be raffling away. Everyone who comes gets one raffle ticket. If you spend money at the store, you get another. Okay. If you can just buy raffle tickets if you want. We're going to be giving away all sorts of stuff, right? A full terrain set. We're going to be giving away a team painted by Aiden McGeeth. He's currently, I think, number 2 in Hobby Track because I'm number 1. Sorry, Aiden.
Sorry, guys, I don't compete.
I won't be number 1 at the end of LVO. Let me tell you what.
No, I think
all these guys are coming.
I've seen a lot of the pre stuff. Some of these guys are they're trying to win it.
Yeah, they're cooking.
They want it.
They're cooking hard.
And I want them to want it because I love painting as a competition. Honestly, it's awesome.
It is awesome.
It's so creative to see what these guys are doing. But in addition to the other raffle, of course, we have one of our big raffles. It's the Black Templar team we're doing right now for Angels of Death. So whether you just want to have something cool that's brought to you by Squad Games, it's unique. It's made out of us 3. Besides working on another part. We're putting it all together, getting it all in. Mm-hmm. So you can join that raffle too. That is a specifically different raffle. Which we will have details at LVO, but it's basically just buy a raffle ticket, put it in, and then it's drawn. Actually, that's the whole thing. That's it.
Pretty much.
That's it. It's just a different raffle. Instead of getting this raffle, you're choosing to get that raffle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Simple.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be cool. Hopefully you guys enjoy the team that we're doing. We got to...
zoom in on there. Get some more.
Zoom in on some of these guys.
I think you can see more of the red now that I've added color to that.
Did you add red? I'm colorblind. Oh, yeah, I can see it now.
Yeah, and the stipling on, so you have that kind of like weathered leather look on some of it right there.
To the dice palette.
There you go.
Nope.
No, it's a little tough.
Yeah.
But that's okay. We're going to have more pictures of these as we get them done. High quality pictures, got to have that promo. Got to have people get excited for that stuff. And Angels of Death is always a pretty decent team. Now I think they're more like C tier, maybe high, maybe low B.
Yeah. The more these teams get done as well, the more we'll give out to like the Patreons and stuff like that. They'll get to see them first.
Exactly. So they'll get to know what they can be raffling at LVO. It's just something cool.
We're also going to have shirts. We're going to have brand new dice. We're going to have dice bags. We're going to have tokens.
A big surprise coming there too. Yeah.
Are we?
Well, we can't say what it is yet.
There's going to be something that I've never made before. It's going to be there.
Yeah.
So that's going to be cool. Do we have any other questions, Giacomo?
Right now, let's see. We just got one from Mr. Alex P. himself. What are those 2 jabronis up to tonight? Okay, that is what he has said. Well, I guess we're up to painting, Mr. Alejandro. We're painting tonight. We're getting you prepped for LVO. We ran through the maps for those listening at home. If you're listening on this podcast, you probably already heard that. But again, this is live, so I'm trying to fill as many people in as we can. This is an interesting format, doing it live. Painting, doing it live. You're eating the paint.
I think this is the first time Giacomo's done anything like super painting-wise.
On camera, more or less. I usually don't have a setup, and most of the stuff we have set up is in the studio, and I never commit to coming here. But I should. Maybe one day I will. Got to paint more models, right?
We'll be able to have a little bit maybe closer models. Close-ups,
Yeah, we're getting...
I think I have like this one.
Yeah,
that's cool. That's cool.
That is a cool one.
That's
a good angle. That's a great angle.
It's a cool angle, right?
Yeah. Well, for those listening, let's see. They're models.
Yeah. So how I'm highlighting these guys, right? I'm using I used AK Black as the base coat, and then I airbrushed them with half AK Black, half P3 Coal Black, which is an old paint, which is hopefully, according to the Kickstarter, coming back. And then I used pure Coal Black, and then I reintroduced the shadows from underneath with another AK. And then for the edge highlights, I've gone in with P3, and then I'm mixing in French blue, and then I do a pure French blue edge highlight. And that is how I am painting the black armor.
Yes, sir.
Giacomo, how are you painting how are you painting your leather? It's a very stereotypical.
It's very, very simple. You start with a dark brown. We prefer to use Rhinox hide. So, you get your Rhinox hide on there as your starting color. Then we move over to some Doom Bowl brown. So you get this as a semi-thick highlight. So that way when you work with your next bright, it's going to pop out, which is Scrag Brown. And now instead of doing lines, we're actually going to be doing some like little dabs in a line format, breaking patterns, because as humans we like to make patterns.
So we're
stippling on, but not quite stippling, because then we'd be doing it really thin. Yeah. This I'm actually using it thicker because it creates that texture. And then what I'll probably do is I'll go back with the same Scrag Brown over parts that I feel would have the most crease, so just to get even like an even brighter color, really build on the texture right there. And that's it. It's 3 colors. You don't really need to do blending. It's just a simple, for a lack of a better word, it's stippling on.
Yeah. The typically, I'm going to be doing something very similar with my my edge highlighting. My edge highlighting, I kind of do like two really kind of like crisp coats, and then my final edge highlight, I'm going to be doing similar to a stippling, but not full stippling. Some of it will be lines, some of it will be just kind of breaking up the texture. Just because these are Space Marines, they've been seeing lots and lots of war, right?
Action, man. Hell yeah.
Yeah, especially the Black Templar. They are
Crusaders.
They are my favorite faction in as a Space Marine. I don't like painting black armor very much. I'd rather paint yellow. Yes, I'm a psychopath.
I'd prefer yellow too.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for Color Forge they're out in the US now. I'm hoping to try them out. Go back
I reached out to Color Forge for LVO, and they didn't get back to me. Well, their US side got back to me, but their UK side got back to me, but their US side did not. So that was unfortunate. We're hoping to get them as sponsors.
We got a few questions here, so I'm gonna pull them up.
Sure.
Also, shout out to Norwazy, subscribed to Tier 1.
Nice, thank you, Norwazy.
Thank you.
That's
for 2
Evan.
months. Yeah, that is Evan. Yeah, thank you. Shout out to that. Now you know why I can't always play games at night. Yeah. Sometimes I'm doing this. Screech has the question. Screech83. What is your favorite color to taste? With color with a U, by the way.
Usually, Games Workshop paints don't really have a taste, so I don't mind painting with them. Same thing with Too Thin Coats and AK.
But that's your favorite color to taste? Do reds taste like
I like putting black in my mouth.
Okay, does it taste like black licorice or?
No, it just tastes like black.
Just tastes like black.
I don't particularly like putting metals in my mouth because you don't know if they're actually made with real metal flakes.
Oh, that's
powder.
Yeah, do not eat metal flakes. Yes.
White also has titanium in it.
Do not eat titanium, guys. Unless you want to.
Well, it's a titanium dioxide.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the doctor telling you.
And what's interesting about titanium dioxide is white is not a color. So that pigment that they're putting in it is typically reflection. So like you are just like, you're eating the reflection of all light, which sounds really bad.
It's kind of metal, actually.
It's kind of metal. Yeah. So, I would say I prefer putting all types of black paint in my mouth.
All types of black. Thing? I like that.
Yeah. Just not Monument black, because Monument tastes like shit. When they say don't eat their paint, they mean it.
They mean it.
Hey,
like,
we make our paint taste like shit, probably because like there's stuff in it that's like.
It's like the Nintendo Switch cartridge when they put. I wonder if they still do it. They put bitters on their cartridges so kids don't eat it because the cartridge is the size of a small SD card.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and I remember my coworker at the time was like, did you try eating your Switch game? And I told him no, because I'm an adult. We have another question. So this is less of a LVO question and more of a hobby question concerning proxies.
Okay.
Moon Truther is making an Imperium Wormblade team with rogue traders and assassins as the cult agents.
Okay.
They'd like to use some other bodies to make the neophytes, and they were thinking of using Navy Breachers. Would these be acceptable as a proxy? And if no, what are some good bodies to use?
Okay, so there's a couple problems that you have to work through when you're working with conversions and stuff. If you're going to use pre-existing models that already are in Kill Team, they're harder to get past by a TO, right? Because you're just model swapping at that point in time. And a lot of times here's the thing, people don't want to think at tournaments. They don't. They're already thinking hard enough. So if you're saying like, hey, I'm playing Wormblade and I'm using Navy Breacher models, well, you better make them ugly as sin. Like they better have like some Wormblade heads. They better look like Wormblade models. Because if they just look like Navy Breachers and you're using them as
The neophytes, right?
right? You have a problem innately because your opponent is going to be like, "Oh, I play Navy breaches all the time. I thought that was the exacting. I thought this was this guy," you know, and like you want your opponent to do as little thinking as possible in a tournament setting, right? Especially when you go to like a Games Workshop event, when you come to a really big championship style event, right? If you're just going to a local, everyone knows who you are, sure, it'll probably be fine. If your TO says it'll be fine, it'll probably be fine. If you're looking to go to like a giant, so for instance, there's another person who's bringing some chaos models as Angels of Death, okay, to LVO. Now I approve them, but I told them that they have to label their models, so their bases need to be labeled. Typically, they're not using actual legionary models; they are using like possessed and other chaos agents, and they make sense. The melee guys are melee guys. The shooty guys are shooty guys. Cool, fantastic, amazing. But in order to help with any kind of stuff, sometimes it's good just to label your models, right?
Right. When in doubt, just do the rim, label it with whatever you got.
Label. Buy a small labeler, put it on.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
Yes, the easiest way is usually doing that, you know?
Uh-huh.
And that's all right. We have another question. If the data slate comes out Wednesday, what are the chances of getting a rapid ingress pod episode covering it? It'll happen the day it comes out, and it'll come out the next day because we need to talk about it.
We do.
We've been waiting for this our whole quarter, this last quarter.
I've been waiting for this since I got demolished at Worlds.
Wrecked at Worlds.
Wrecked.
Destroyed.
I would use a different R word, but I'm not allowed to.
Do not use the R word. You're not allowed to say ring.
Yes. Yes, I'm not allowed to say that.
I was hoping to say a word with food, but I couldn't. All I could think of was root beer.
I got root beard at Worlds, okay?
Dang, root beard at Worlds. Yeah, not even floated.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So as soon as the data slate drops, we will do our best to record as soon as possible and get it out to you guys.
Yes,
because we would like to do that for you. All right. Bro got absolutely cooked by Nurgle forces, wrecked even.
Yeah, right. I got destroyed by many different forces. If you guys have other questions for LVO or would like to chat with us, please make sure you put them in the Twitch.
In the chat, please.
Yes. So, Giacomo.
Yes?
How goes your leather escapades, my friend?
It's great. I even want to add a brighter color, but I don't think I need to.
Is this the only way that you paint leather?
This is the newest way. I'll do a close-up because I've been very lazy about not taking pictures of the Rekka crew I painted. I'd say they're at about 60% done. I still have a few I got to finish. But the ones that are done, you can see the way the leather straps kind of break off and start looking like old, really worn leather. It's a technique I've been practicing for a bit, and I think I finally got it when I painted the squigs. So then I've been doing that, and I've been kind of trying to do that for leather. Because leather is a very textured material, similar to the way that I
painted a mega butt ton of leather on my death core. Kind
of like this cape, like you have a lot of texture. You need certain elements need to be painted in a texture, and this is a great example of one, and probably one you can see better. You got to paint things in a texture because you can't really see the leather from here or the leather straps very well from here. You need to get it up close, but when you do, you can see all the little effects on it. And how well you really can see it from there.
Yeah, we can't really see since it's dark on dark. It's a little bit more difficult.
It's a little bit more difficult.
And this is meant to be more of like we're just chatting, we're just fun.
Chatting, having a good time, as if you're hanging out with your homie and they're painting. Like if their computer is gone for a week and they say they have nothing to do and they choose not to paint, whatever. That's a shout out to a person listening. I know they're listening.
Who?
I won't tell you because I don't want to embarrass them. But they
Melty.
No, they know who they are.
Andrew. Alex.
Oh, we did get another question though.
Okay.
Competitive beta decima maps when?
Ew.
Sorry.
Shut your mouth. Who asked that question?
That would be Mr. Big Rubber Ducky.
Big Rubber Ducky, screw you. No, in all actuality, I do want to functionally make better beta decima maps, but I will be including more terrain than they say so.
You need it.
I will be doing multiple other things and getting crazy and funky with it. That will happen after LVO, though. That was so far out of my mind that I haven't even thought about it. Specifically because I am extremely stressed out with the lasers being down. They said it's only supposed to be 24 to 48 hours, but you never know.
Even then, 2 days is like, ugh.
And it's not like I did anything wrong either. So like, it's just immensely frustrating that I depend on 2 machines to make. I still have prizes to make. I still have tokens to.
Trophies to cut.
Look how many tokens, everyone.
The man is whipping out the tokens.
I have this entire stack of tokens that I have to cut. Okay, this is over 120 sets of tokens that I'm supposed to be bringing to LVO, and they're not cut out. Okay, you know how stressful that is to feel? 120. 120.
On top of being sick.
It took me 3 weeks to cut that pile. All right? Frustrated.
To say the least. We got another question. This one's regarding paint.
Okay.
Dakotah, what AK colors would you recommend in general? I finally tried ones last week, and it was awesome.
Yes. AK has an amazing paint range. They are a sponsor of the channel.
Especially the third-gen stuff.
Including, Tooth and Coats is also a sponsor, but they've sponsored multiple events, including LVO. Thank you, AK Interactive. They have been very helpful to the kill team scene. But AK Black is by far the best paint.
Easy.
In the AK range.
That they make.
They win another Hobby Track episode, Hobby Highlander episode. Giacomo,
Yes, sir.
So I will not talk about blues. I will not talk about yellows, reds. I will not talk about those because those 3 episodes are coming up. Okay. But I think that AK they have this color called ash gray and smoke gray. They're both very similar to
It would be like
Skaven Blight,
Skaven and the rat, whatever the rat one is called.
Yeah. Those 2 paints I absolutely love. I love the warm hue in the gray. I think it's a very unique and interesting color. And I recently found out that Tooth and Coats also has those colors, which are also amazing. But AK, I really like those. I really like their blue range. They also have a really good. They have these little starter sets that are absolutely phenomenal.
Oh,
you
yeah,
can find
right
them
there.
at a store.
Yeah.
So
I think you might have seen them. Vallejo does something similar, and I think AK has done this before, but these are the ones that come to mind. It's their 3rd-gen special stuff.
So there's something interesting about different paint ranges.
Yeah.
You have like what are they called? They do this. Army Painter does this as well. Army Painter has a couple they're like, oh, these are like 6 paints in a row, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, they don't tell you how to use them. Okay, this is a really cool pack. It's called. Let me
zoom into yourself. There you go.
So this pack is really cool. It has wine red, it has magenta, intense pink, and pastel yellow. Okay, and you use these 4 colors to paint plasma or really hot, and it's something different that you don't see anyone else do. You have this fire effects one, right? Which is just like a really useful, this is how you use the paints, right? I really like this purple palette, And sometimes when I'm going for a very specific style or a very specific effect, I also do my power weapons all with their blue colors. So I'll go with like intense blue, dark blue, ice blue, pastel blue. I really like their pastel blue on wings. Or
You did it with the Vespids, right?
Yeah, Vespids or on glass. I'll paint everything with the pastel blue and then I'll highlight it with just a pure white. And it looks really good, in my opinion, as a glass. And it's hard to paint glass, I think.
A lot of people will use plastics to create the glass and simulate it instead.
Yeah, I don't have a ton of AK paints, but I will say I have one other AK paint that I absolutely adore. And it is one of my favorite colors. My three, I can't say one of my favorite colors because it's in an episode, but I have black and I have another color called light earth. Light earth is absolutely beautiful. It's like a light tan color and it covers really, really well. So yeah, and I use it for my Tyranids when I paint Tyranids.
That's right. When you have them on the display board over there that
Correct.
they can't see in the camera or can't see it because they're listening.
Correct. Yeah. Sorry, I splurged about paints there.
Hey, splurging about paints is nothing wrong with that.
Speaking of which, Artis Opus is going to be sponsoring LVO.
Yes, they are.
And we're going to have Byron himself helping judge Best Painted and the other categories. So he will be coming over during the showcase on Saturday, helping judge. So if you guys want to stick around during the showcase, when everyone else is doing them, you guys might be able to say hi. He's a pretty big YouTuber. He has a big, if you want to learn how to dry brush.
That man is a dry brush king.
Yeah, go check him out.
So you can catch that, fun little celebrities coming around LVO because that's always cool.
Yeah.
People love that. I love that. What do you do to paint faces? I can never get a good recipe down.
I have a couple good. Me and Giacomo paint faces very differently.
Very differently, all the time. Because I think of the philosophy of no face is ever perfectly the same, no skin tone's ever perfectly the same. But you can always have something close, right? I think you have more of a recipe than I do. I have a series of colors.
I'm colorblind.
Yeah, so you need to follow a recipe?
So I follow a recipe to the T every single time.
You want to share it? Go ahead.
No, you go first.
All right. So generally, I have a couple options. Let's do black skin as an example. So I usually start off with Rhinox hide because it is your darkest shade that you'll have under. And then I build up, usually using actually Doombowl Brown or this equivalent color of it. But I do a lot of blends. So I think one of the easy ways for me to do it. Can we get this palette? Can we show this palette?
Of course.
Can I do that? All right. So let's see. Let's get that.
That's the wrong one.
That is the wrong one. Let's get this palette. So I'll start with, let's say, Rhinox hide over here, right? I'll kind of do this. This is a little more wet than I would normally do. But I have that starting. And then I take some of this.
Which is what?
The Doombowl Brown.
Okay.
And next I will apply it here. Kind of right there, right? So we have them separated. And then what I'll do is I'll take a little bit here. I'll take a little bit from over here. And I'll start blending them to kind of get that middle tone, right? Yep. And this is what I'm going to do.
So you're looking for a mid-tone.
A mid-tone right here that's made between these two colors, right?
Okay.
And I don't necessarily want to call it a mid-tone because what I'm really doing is creating a gradient.
Mm-hmm.
Right, I'm going to start a gradient here, getting to this color. Yeah. I never really want to get to here too much because I think this is a little too red. Uh-huh. But I'll use that more for highlights. And
so this is a blending method that you're using.
I use a blending method for skins all the time because skins are always going to be blended. And as humans, we recognize faces really well. So you kind of want to make sure, and even this works with orc skin too. You really want to make sure that skin blends because that's what we're used to seeing, regardless of whether you had blue skin, green skin, purple skin, whatever, it doesn't matter. So what I'm doing is I'll start with my darkest color, then build up into this lighter color to the point where I might even get to this brown over here. But what I have to do after is I have to dull it down. So then you might take somewhere in this mid-tone color. You decide where you kind of see it. I'll get it really watery and I'll start blending into the dark sides, kind of like this. Just pulling it down into there. This is going to show more beady because it's a little more wet. But, pulling it down into there.
So
into
for
your,
our podcast listeners, what do you? So you're just dragging it down and you're trying to thin it out to a very specific consistency.
I want to be very thin because what I'm doing is I'm glazing into your dark spots.
So
right?
what you're doing for skin is that you make your mid-tone or your tone that you're looking for, and then you're glazing it onto the skin. And then for like this color, you might use it into like the recesses, right? Or something like that.
Actually, I would probably choose something for those who can't see. Podcast listeners, just audio listeners, I have it closer to where the darkest tone is. I would probably use that for my recesses, just because again, it's where the shadows fall, and a lot of it you should look at portraits a lot, because then you'll kind of see like where cheekbones fall, where like the shadow bounces off, and you can start like definitely down here in these two sections. You're always going to have shadow, especially for Space Marines because of the way they have that like very structured face.
So question. I know a lot of people, when we were looking at a lot of people's paint jobs, a lot of people just use contrast.
Contrast is awesome. Like, I don't do it in mine because I don't care to do it for regular skin tone, but I do it with orcs all the time. I will use a contrast, thin down. I'm glazing this contrast because it pools so well to get the like dark recess color. One I have done is Golem and Flesh.
Okay.
When I use when I generally do more lighter skin tones, like maybe like your skin tone, kind of like there, I'll use that to get into the dark parts. And we're emphasizing the color. Like I want you to see the red undertone, and that's why I choose Golem and Flesh.
So what's interesting is that Giacomo and me paint flesh immensely different.
Immensely different.
I will only use contrast paints if that's the last step that I'm doing. For me, when I'm painting flesh, I will use Cadian Flesh Tone or the Two Thin Coats variant, and I will get a full coverage. Okay. Then what I do is I'll take, what's the Kislev Flesh? Is it Kislev? Is it Kislev?
It's usually Cadian.
Yeah.
And then Kislev is the next one.
I don't think I use Kislev.
I don't usually either. I can just add.
I think it's too yellow.
Ice yellows if I want to make it lighter.
So typically I will use Cadian Flesh Tone, and then what I do is I used a contrast medium. And the reason why I use contrast medium over water is because mediums typically break down your paint particles more than water does. Water just separates it. Okay. So I'll use more medium than I do water. I'll still water it down, obviously. And then I'll also glaze in my next transition of a color. And I usually do it a little heavy metal style where my mid-tone is the Cadian Flesh Tone. And I'll start to glaze up to the next color. And my final color is, my final highlight color is Flayed One Flesh. And this is for Caucasian specifically.
Right.
Okay. I have two darker skin tone recipes that I use. I won't get into those. But I'll use that. And it's just glazing and glazing and glazing and glazing. And you never want to lose your mid-tone. The biggest thing is where people just blow out their mid-tone, and then I'll go through with scorched. It's not called scorched earth anymore. I think it's Rhinox hide. I'll go with Rhinox hide, really, really watered down, really, really, and I'll mix it in with a little bit of what is that called? Cadian Flesh Tone, and then I'll glaze into the recesses really lightly. And when you put it on your thumbnail, you don't even see it. You don't even see the color.
It's almost not there.
And that dries really quickly, and you just do it and do it and do it. How long does it take you? Because here's the other thing. A lot of people just think like painting faces is quick. The reason why I love painting faces is because it's difficult. And I am willing to spend 2 to 3 hours.
Easy.
Maybe even 4 hours on a single face. Because sometimes you can go in and you have to add in the blood. So you add in a really thin glaze of red, over their cheeks and over their mouth.
Are you doing eyeballs?
A little bit of blue in their eyeballs. You do a Rhinox hide in there. ice yellow for their irises, you know.
And off-white all the time. Never pure white, always off.
Yeah, or Rakarth flesh. I really like Rakarth.
I've done Rakarth flesh for a few ones.
For eyeballs.
I did it for some Chaos Eyes.
Yeah.
When they're like, I want to.
But really, it's just glazing and glazing and glazing. It's a really slow process. You can speed it up by making it so that you don't glaze as much. But at that point, you're kind of going for more of a cartoony effect.
Which is fine.
Which is fine too.
Some people like it.
Yeah.
I like blending more with faces generally.
Yeah, we went off the rails, so let's try to get back to LVO.
Let's get back to LVO. Not that you need more work for LVO, but would you all consider doing an after-hour massive NPO game?
Yes.
Yeah.
So on Friday, we will be having a streamed NPO game. It should be Titus versus some Tyranids, as long as we can finish the Tyranids in time.
Yep.
And we'll have some Kill Team content creators that will be there doing it. You might see Jimmy, you might see me. It depends on people's availability, but it will be a nice, fun way to end the day on Saturday, and people can watch. We won't have enough miniatures for everyone to play.
It's right? Maybe more of a stream thing, but if we have table space and you want to bring your own terrain and hang out with a few of your buddies and do a giant NPO game at the end of the night, because the rooms are still going to be open, I think that's totally fine. Yeah, you know, if you want to set it up yourself, feel free to do so. I could hang out. I could hang out for that just for fun. You know, decompress, throw some dice with you guys. You know, it's cool to meet everybody. You know, get to see some people that I've never met. You're like, oh, who are you guy? I'm Pledge Floor Master 36 on Discord. Nice.
And we're like, oh, that's the other thing. Like, all these people come up and they're just like, oh, what's up, man? You like talk to them and you have no idea who they are. And they're like, oh, I'm Rubber Ducky. And you'll be like, oh, what's up, Rubber Ducky? You're in our Twitch stream all the time. What's up, my guy? But in IRL, I don't know who the fuck Rubber Ducky is. You know?
But you know,
no idea.
We'd get to meet you.
I'm going to meet you at some point. Or they're going to like DM me a picture of themselves and be like,
I saw you.
My name is Jonathan Red Sox, you know?
Who knows? They could be. They could be. Oh, this guy. This is legit. Thank you, Mr. ABC Sean. This is legit advice. Painting stuff. Now I want to hobby more than play in Vegas. You know what the fun part about hobbying is? If you do it now, you can show it off to your friends in Vegas.
Or your enemies.
Yeah, like you got a rival, like check it out, man. You suck. I'm great. You know, I did it last time. I brought the Casterkin because I know I would never compete in our own stuff. I think that's tacky.
It is. Tacky.
It's tacky to win your own things. You know, you could do it, but I'm going to say I think it's tacky to win your own stuff. But I'm not against bringing it and just putting it there. I like people to appreciate.
People.
I like to appreciate. I do throw soft shade at people. They know who they are, and it's just a thing, right? It's just a courtesy. If you're going to throw something like, why would you win your own prize? What was the point? Just keep it. Don't even throw the event.
Yeah. Don't even give it up as a prize.
That's what I'm saying.
Don't do it.
Yeah, but you know, bring stuff.
We throw soft shade. It's like we're underneath a tree sometimes here at Squad Games.
But we're so well lit. maybe a little too exposed, but we'll get that later. Yeah. The benefit of working in one studio, right? We make it work. We make it happen.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, show the people the models.
Oh, this is difficult because I'm right-handed.
Yeah, sorry, Screech. I get it. You know, the money to get to the States to go to LVO, it can be tough.
Can be.
You know, if you ever get the chance though, and you come out, that'd be awesome. Because
I would love to meet Screech.
I think LVO is
too bad that he had to give his ticket away. Dude, you know how awesome of a guy Screech is?
Yeah.
He gave away his ticket at LVO to go to Worlds. And like, because he's such a Giga Chad.
This is who he is, dude.
Totally messed that fucking highlight up when I'm trying to do it. I'm like trying to like paint like.
You know what? That's why we have paint and we can repair. And that's the other beauty of going slow is like you can be more precise. You don't have to worry about things. It's important to go at your pace, man. Have a good time with it. It's just painting, but you know it is fun to show your folks at home, and they go like, "Oh, you painted that," and they get impressed. That's nice.
So Giacomo, I called you today.
You did call me a bunch,
and specifically about called you about something I forgot, and then I called you about LVO. Like we sold out.
Yeah, that was what around.
How did that make you as an organizer? And like we've been doing this for what
3 years,
3 LVOs now.
Yeah.
Back to back to back biggest events in the world.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel as like somebody who started this when we started doing this with 7 people? 7 people showed up to our event, and 2 of which was you and Saya.
Yeah. I feel amazing that I could be part of this big of a group of people coming together to experience and enjoy a game everybody likes. Because, this is also people taking off, not just for competitive reasons, but it's their vacation time. They want to spend time doing this, right?
Your vacation time.
It's my vacation. Well, kind of. We're working. We get asked like, hey, do you guys want to go to dinner? Nah, I'm going to eat from the vending machine and go to sleep. See ya. Because it's tired.
They don't have to
have to be up in the morning. But it's so cool to see us coming from that. And the community in general, too, more people running their own events, getting inspired to do stuff up north, up down in the SoCal, the San Diego area,
Vegas,
in Utah. Vegas and Utah doing their thing. The East Coast, of course, doing their thing. And that's what I want to see, because that's when I did 40K, that's how it started, too, right? Yeah. As a young child, there was like, all right, there's occasionally a tournament here and there. And then I think 7th really started exploding with tournaments, and then 8th really brought it. And each year they got bigger and bigger, right? So I look at 380.
7th really started because of
Frontline Gaming. Yeah, because they did the packet.
Because it used to be just Games Workshop, and no one used to compete with Games Workshop
at all.
And then they had like Ard Boys, which I used to compete in, and other things,
Right.
But yeah.
And you're right. That's exactly what it was. And it started smaller, and as independent organizers like ourselves, like Frontline Gaming at the time, they're still an independent organizer technically. They got to see it grow because they kept doing it, right? So I can fully predict that in a few more years, we'll probably start surpassing the 200, maybe hitting 250.
Yeah,
like easy. If we're already hitting the 174.
As long as the balanced data slates come, it could be faster, it could be better.
Some people they were waiting to see it, and they were hesitant to buy tickets, and now they can't get it. Because the balanced data slate could drop out, and they could be like, dang, I live in Vegas.
Those last, the last 10 tickets went like real quick. Like we had 12 for a while, and then it was just like, they were just gone. Like I looked one day, we were at 2. And somebody was like, hey, we're at 2. Like, what if I do this? I was like, yeah, that's fine. And then we were at 1, and I thought he bought his ticket, but no, he got the last one because somebody else saw it and bought it too.
Yeah. So I get excited just thinking about it. Like, I might not always show it because I'm a very reserved person in general. But I get excited. I get really happy about things like this. It makes me excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about it?
I'm very proud. This is where I really strive with my competitiveness.
Okay. Being the best.
Running the best events. And really just like trying to make sure that everyone has a good time. And then the fruits of our labors of that happening every year. Some of these people that have never been to an event, sure, they've never heard of us. But all the people that are coming again and again for the 3rd time, or have always been coming,
right.
Having those people come back because they want to is really special.
Mm-hmm. They make the trek every year.
I think it's really...
it's a testament to how well I think we can put something on.
Bro, in October, I was scared. In October, we were talking, when we were running SoCal Open, we only had like 70-ish tickets sold, which is still like half of the event. But like at that point in time, we typically have more sold. And then I think we sold like 100 tickets in 2 months.
It just kind of exploded. And I think maybe that was a little bit the holiday season, people kind of saving up a little more. Or their friends buying them tickets, or after they've had all their finances ready, they're like, I can buy the ticket now, I'm affording my vacation time. I know you usually do always kind of feel a little stressed about it. You'll call me and say, we've sold this many tickets. And I try to remind him, I try to remind Dakotah, I try to remind you that historically this happens, and usually there'll be a point where everything just goes like, and all the tickets are gone, or like we're close to the end. This is the first time where I've seen all the tickets are gone, we had it before.
Our very first year, they only gave us 60,
right?
Which sold out mid-November.
Mm-hmm, that's right.
And then they gave us 10 extra tickets.
That's right.
Which sold out instantly within 5 minutes. And then they gave us another 10 tickets, which sold out in 10 minutes. Then they gave us another 10 tickets, bringing us to, I think, 80. And those sold out in like 15 minutes. And then they gave us 20, and then those took a week to sell.
Right. Now they were seeing how much more they could get. And
then they gave us nothing else.
Yep, that was it. I think they figured out that's all the space we're going to have.
Yeah.
But when I looked at those tables, I thought like, oh, we could have had at least another 2-3 more sets of tables.
Yeah.
Yeah, like easy. And now, since we're getting a new room, we're not in the Brazil one, whatever the one room.
Well, the question is, are they moving us to a smaller room? Are they moving? Because our very first, I think 2020, they had us in.
We were in the back of 40K. Because 40K wasn't as big yet. That was before.
We were in the back of 40K, but we weren't running it.
We were not running it then.
That was Sheldon.
That's right. I was actually at 40K. I just came over to visit them after.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was playing that was my last year playing 40K.
That was my last year as a player.
That was your last year as a player. Mm-hmm. And not to say that 40K is bad. It's just my army was bad. And it's a lot harder to buy a new army than to switch to a different kill team.
You're not wrong.
That is significantly harder. So
it's a lot more difficult to pay 2,000 points. In fact, I've only successfully ever painted a full 2,000 points once in my lifetime.
I just don't dedicate the time to the level I'd be happy with them.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So, and I've always liked Kill Team anyways, like when we were playing it back in the day. So I was happy to come into there. And
I drew your ass in.
You did. You were really good about the Sunday nights. We had like 12, 15 people showing up at the time.
Yeah, when we first started.
That was
we would have more people that would come to our Sunday nights than would come to our events.
At all, yeah. And it was fun. But hey, you know what? As we're saying with the rooms, we were in the back of 40K. Then we got our own space. We were in the middle. Were we in the middle the second year? Or the first year we were
kind of like in the middle.
In the first year, right?
Yeah, in the first year.
Then,
like there's a big hall, and then they kind of gave us like half of a stack of tables. The next year they gave us a whole stack of tables. The next year they gave us even longer stack somehow of tables.
Because it went all the way to the end of the place. We even could have taken the stage, but we didn't think about that.
Yeah.
That's okay. I kind of like being near the stuff anyways. Putting the medals on.
It kind of draws more people to you and stuff like that.
Not to say that having a stage would be badass though.
Yeah.
Yeah, we make it badass.
Yeah, we really wanted to do like a Hobby Highlander episode, like live event, or like Frontline Gaming really pushes us to do an After Dark.
They love when they do that.
But to be honest, it's too much on us. If somebody else wanted to run an After Dark Kill Team thing, that'd be fine. But the problem is that you can't move the tables because the next morning,
we need them
after every event day, me, Giacomo, the judges staff have to come in to. I think the judges staff is going to be Robert Nichols. We have James and we have Mike.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And we have Giacomo and Sheldon at top table.
Yes.
Yeah.
For all the top table needs.
But yeah, I mean, it's rather difficult to get, like, everyone moves the terrain around. So we have to go in, we have to manually fix it every day. Mm-hmm. Every day it has to get fixed. all 75 tables have to get fixed.
We're up there right around 6 o'clock. The event starts in 3 hours?
Yeah.
So we're like, all right, we got to do it. Here we go. Yeah. Which is why I usually I will decline going to dinner with people who ask. And it's never because I don't like you guys. It's because I have to go to sleep.
While y'all are having fun, we're making sure everyone else is having fun.
Which in my eyes it's fun.
We have fun with each other.
Yeah. Later.
And if you want to like hang out with TOs and stuff like that, we just have a much earlier and later time schedule than anyone else at the events. At any event. That goes for like Matthew Howell at Nova. Anywhere else. There's a couple events where people are more like employees and then they kind of can dip whenever they want, or they can get there at like later times and stuff, but we are not one of those.
No, we are there, we're on the grind, and that's part of the Vegas season, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Do we have any other questions?
Any other questions?
It's been a hot minute since we've taken a question. If you guys have questions, throw them in chat now.
Yes,
right?
Yes. At this rate, KT will be bigger than 40K in no time. I could see that.
It's going to be, we have to surpass AOS first. And we almost surpassed AOS at Worlds. We almost did.
Give it time.
Kill Team is a lot better competitively because you can fit 4 players in the space that you fit 2 40K players.
/ AOS.
So monetarily wise, skirmish games are much better because you get to, you don't take up as much space. You can fit 4 times the amount of players, which means that you can either half the tickets or you can 3/4 the tickets. So then now you're making an extra 25%. Right.
Mm-hmm. And in general, skirmish games from a value point for players, you get 2 things. One, it's a little more affordable to finish something, and it's easier, like I mentioned, to switch to a different kill team that you may want to play, you may want to try out, and it's not too much of an investment if you didn't like it. Where with 40K, unless you're doing Tabletop Simulator, you might have to invest in building it at least, and then you sell it gray on eBay and someone buys it for like a quarter of the price.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just trying to liquidate it. So there's a lot of that, right? And I usually can appreciate skirmish games for that reason. Because, these are plastic toys, but, some of this stuff still can get a little pricey.
Yeah, I mean, look at Warp Coven. Warp Coven's a really expensive team.
Just because the amount of stuff you buy.
Wormblade is a very expensive team.
Pretty much most of the White Dwarf ones.
Yep.
Yeah. Probably by design, if we're being honest. But yes, so skirmish games are awesome. I'll never dunk on my big 40K, though. I do enjoy it. Just this is easier for me to play after work on days we do.
It's easier when you have a family.
It's simpler to do. You can really put a lot of customization in just the team, because it's like in 40K I might like pimp out a captain, but that's just one guy.
It feels like a much more competitive rule set currently. Right?
Yeah, generally, like, because when you look at Rattlings in Kill Team and then you look at Rattlings in 40K, the dog is a token. He's not actually doesn't do anything.
Really?
He's a token. He does one thing, and then you go, then remove the dog from play. And you have the big sniper gun and snipers, and that's it. So it's like, I get it. They have to condense all these all these many small rules into one unit that doesn't say, yeah, they're snipers, I get it. But it's so much cooler to play Rattlings with the grappling hook, with your comms man, getting to use Scarper as a rule on your models. The dog actually does something.
A lot more flavor.
Yeah, so yeah, you're right. You can get a lot more flavor because you get more detail in each of the games, since each model matters, right? It's not just like, this is my chaff unit and whatever. They're designed to stop you from a deep strike or something. So, I enjoy skirmish games for that. It scratches a different itch for me.
Dude, I completely forgot that I had units that I would just spread out because I didn't want people to
yeah, exactly. Like, they're just there to sit. They don't do anything. I probably, because they're 100 points on my list.
Yeah, they're 100 points, and I put them up. I advance them so that I don't get, like, robot dog assaulted by all these people in front of me.
Exactly.
Some crazy first strike shenanigans.
Exactly. Like, the Alpha Strike was so much worse in 40K. Again, different things.
Pathfinders last edition had a
exactly. It's like Pathfinders had a problem too. Not saying that Kill Team's perfect, because it's not.
Yeah.
And I don't want to just dunk on big games, because I like big games. It scratches a different itch. But if I had to pick between the two, I think a skirmish game is usually for me.
Just because of life.
It's just life. As you get older, because I have a lot of other hobbies. I don't just do this, but this is one of my favorite ones.
Like, we want to play like Battle for Middle-earth. We want to play 40K. Like, we want to play other stuff, but it's a lot easier to like invest your time in like not learning. Because when you want to be good at 40K, you memorize. When I was really good at 40K, and I didn't drop a game in 7 years.
Right.
I was undefeated for 7 years in 40K.
Right.
I tied a lot of times, but I never lost. Right. I knew every single codex back to front.
That's what you had to do.
Every single rule back to front. And so I knew every single Tau Devilfish. I knew they had 10 strength for their railguns. I knew every single thing that they had, what they wanted to do, and how I was going to beat them. Right? 40K got bigger.
Yes,
they got more factions,
and you had to learn even more.
They had stratagems.
Yeah,
they had all sorts of crazy stuff.
Back when you had literally like 3-4 pages of stratagems. Yeah, it was a whole problem, which I will totally agree with.
Don't get me started.
Like, did you need very specific things like that? No, and I think because Kill Team did it first. they were like, we're going to only give you this many.
Yeah,
and then 40K was like, we're going to
give you 3 pages.
Because 40K loves to do like, hey, other games, you experiment, because we know 40K is our biggest seller. So if those work well, we're going to implement them into that game, which compliments to Kill Team for doing such a good job, to the writers who figured that out, you know?
Yeah, I mean, and then you look at their data cards now for 40K.
What does it look like?
Very similar to 40K.
Each unit has a special ability. Yep. So it's just like, it makes sense.
Yeah, but 40K really threw me off specifically for me when they like made Eldrad. Like, they're like, he has 3 psychic powers and they're all fucking ass. And I was like, yo, I just want to play Eldrad and I want to play the Avatar. That's all I want to do. And they're like, well, those 2 combos don't work great together.
Nope.
Because, like, Eldrad's not that cool anymore. He can do stuff, but he can only do stuff. And I'm like,
bet I'm out.
Frustrated.
And again, it could be a sales tactic, could not be.
I just think they have ding-dong rules writers. We have experienced every game of Games Workshop, and there's a lot of ding-dongs.
There is. And with like you mentioned, how dense the codexes are. When you get a writer, you're like, this writer, they're very good at writing. They understand it. They make a really balanced set. Then you get the Mad Ward era. You're like, hey, Ultramarines and Grey Knights, yo, they're gonna rock, and they're gonna rock hard. And then you had the Ynnari Eldar era, like, yo, we're gonna rock your nuts off. Like, it's just a problem. Sometimes it happens as rule writers, and it happens in 40K, right? You look at Rekka Crew and Rattlings, you're like, hey, this is a good team. Then you saw Legionary. Something happened here. I hope it was good.
Yeah,
probably wasn't.
No, who knows what happened there? It's interesting because there's a lot of like in Kill Team, it's a lot easier, right? Like,
right, you can balance.
If your team is just dog water, right, you can jump to something else.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
easy transition.
Like, I'm not going to play Deathcore in the Prince.
No, they're bad.
I just recently played against Charlotte and got tabled by the beginning of Turning Point 3. Every single Harlequin model just charged me.
You killed one, right?
I think I killed one. Like one.
Yeah, I think you maybe won. Maybe 2 at the end.
Maybe.
And that's because
Charlotte
chose not to do something with that model.
But she still chose violence.
She did choose violence. Like, she went after you guys. But yes, that is the general gist of 40K and Kill Team. Different things.
We have other questions here. I'm sure we have to have some.
Not necessarily a question, but we have this one thing, so I'll read it out from Moon Truther again. So maybe not for a tournament like LVO, because it's big, but have we considered doing a charity bounty system similar to the Gobnobs in Berkeley? For those that aren't familiar, it basically works like this. For every $5 donation to the charity of your choice, that gives you a bounty token, which you can put on an operative that you aren't playing with or against, and when someone kills that operative, they get the bounty token, which is a raffle ticket for the end of the event. I remember doing that. That's how I won... I won Inquisition, but I traded it with someone for Feldor. I think a bounty is fun. I think the idea of like donating to charities are good, or even just donating maybe to your local game store because they need help too.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm fine with doing something like that. Maybe in the future.
Yeah, I'm fine with that as well. I think it's a lot harder to do for profit events, right? Like I have to pay Giacomo.
Right.
We
have to pay yourself.
I have to pay myself. I have to pay Saya. It's a lot easier when this is not your job to do something like that.
Right.
Because every dollar that goes to you or goes to your team, you're constantly trying to find ways for people to spend money. Right. And those are great. Those are great things. Those are great causes. Right. But they don't fit every event.
It can't.
Yes,
I could see it in a more local area. Like, I think 40's max. 40 max players, I think, is like probably where you can really figure out that and not get it too complicated. In my eyes, who knows? It could work with more, but I think 40 is like a sweet spot. 40 is a sweet spot for that.
I think it's a great thing to do, and like we would love to do it, but it would be a very specific event that's meant for that kind of thing, right? Like I wouldn't want be like, hey, we're in Vegas. Everything that stays in Vegas, you do in Vegas, and then you're really like, oh, here's charity for this too. Like it can become too much. And sometimes with 175 players, I'm going to be everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Giacomo is going to be all over the stream. Saya is going to be all over the story. Sometimes we only have so much bandwidth. We can only we can only do so much.
Right, getting each other far.
The more things you do, like if you have just a strict charity event to really push for like something very specific, that is to me so much more impactful than just being like that, like, hey, we're doing this thing. It's our redheaded stepchild. I don't got a lot of time to talk about it because I have to talk about rules for 175 people.
Right.
Right. Something like that really deserves its time in the sun.
Right.
And I think really deserves its moment. Right. And I think that is more of what it should be. Can it be at every event? Sure. But we haven't really necessarily done that at every event. So we're not particularly good to handle it at every event.
Yeah. The handling of it is harder. Like when they did it up north, that was for
Pacific
the
Northwest does it all the time.
All the time. But I think they have someone dedicated for it, or like, it's, and again, if it's a smaller event, I think it's easier to do, to get everyone's bounty and everything. So it's just simpler. If it's a smaller event, go ahead and do it. You should do it. I encourage everybody to do their own events in their area.
Charity is a great thing.
Charities are great.
But don't sacrifice profits for something because you have to take home something.
You can't help others if you can't help yourself. And money is a resource that does help us in the world we live in. So, yeah.
Also make sure that if you are doing an event, and you're not doing it for free or you're doing it for stock, right? In my opinion, I don't think that those are worthwhile trades.
Try to get paid.
Yeah.
Do get paid.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you burn out.
We've seen too many good TOs or too many good people sacrifice too much to the hobby sphere and burn out.
It's just not worth it.
Yeah. Everyone has to make it worth it for themselves. And even if you think you're doing something that's worth it, you got to make sure it's actually worth it.
Right. Like I get it. If this is your hobby, then sure. But if you want to like do it a little more intense, different things, kind of like what we do.
Yeah. Like we do it intense. Like this is my job.
Yeah. There's a lot, the stores, the Patreon, everything all helps create more of this. And so we can bring back to the community, and it's, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's never bad. I still have a day job, but I like doing this. My second job after this.
I wish. Yeah.
Yeah. It's, it's just part of it, it's the grind. And I like doing this. It's fun.
Yes.
You get to experience some stuff like that you might not normally experience.
We had to have missed other questions. These people can't be watching us and being like, no one has questions about LVO. Do you guys have any specific rules questions that you can ask us that I can talk about right now? It has to be something, Giacomo.
Nothing else.
How many viewers do we have?
Right now, let's see. We're in late night. We got 14, so people might have gone to bed.
Of course.
It's getting late night, And again, this is the first time we're doing this sort of format because it was a special night. LVO sold out.
Yeah.
Though I think we can close up pretty soon.
I think so.
So you want to do any shout outs before we close out here? Anything you want to say to the audience or to the rest of the people listening?
Wear a mask right now. There's a lot of sicknesses going around. That doesn't really matter, your political agendas, whatever. The flu is really, really bad this year.
It is.
I had H1N1 before. I might have had the H5N1. I think I had
the newest version.
I think they called it influenza type A.
Yeah, it's like the respiratory thing, right?
Yeah. That one was really bad. I had a 104-degree fever for 3 days, right?
Right at Christmas.
Yeah, over Christmas.
Yeah.
So, like, I know that people like meme on the flu, but this is a bad one. Like I had the only 2 times that I really felt like I was going to die in my life outside of my appendicitis was H1N1 and this past flu, right? Really bad. So like, there's like some really bad viruses going on around there right now. I would highly suggest if you're going to go to a populated place, to wear a mask, to not only protect yourself, to protect other people. If you want to get sick, then do whatever you got to. These things are hella contagious.
And I don't
know where I caught mine, man. Like, I don't know. That's rough.
We got to work with people. You never know when we might run into them. And you just don't want to be sick in general. Yeah, you might survive it and all that. That's cool. But like, Do you really want to go through that for 2 weeks? Hell no.
No, dude,
I only had it for like 5 days, and it was
sick since like the beginning of December.
It's been bad
Like,
for you
since like December 12th or something like that.
I haven't heard this man's voice normal in a long time.
Yeah, it's been rough. And like sure, if you think you're giga chat enough that you're not going to get sick, do what you got to do, my guy. I'm not here to
stop you,
anything like that. I'm just telling you these things suck. So if you're going to an event, maybe consider it. So
that's all we can say there. Fun little shout out. Yeah, don't get sick, guys.
Yeah, don't get sick. It sucks.
I want to shout out all you guys who stayed and tuned in. Everyone who was watching. Got to get their questions on there, got to see it. And for the people listening at home, thank you guys for listening. And I know we've been in a little bit of a desert here in the Kill Team scene in our zone. And that's going to happen. It happens every now and then. We will try to get the Data Slate episode as soon as that thing drops.
Yeah.
Which, again, we have no idea when it's going to drop. Hopefully this week, maybe next week. Shout out to the patrons for, doing their thing. You can join the conversation on the Discord, on the YouTube comment section. If you were here in the chat, you were part of the conversation because that's how cool it is to be in a live episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, less editing because it's all live. They already saw it,
Yeah. And to our podcast listeners, and always, thank you guys for always supporting the channel. Don't forget to give us a rating on Spotify or Apple Podcast or wherever you may be listening. If you want to support us in a different, meaningful way outside of Patreon on YouTube, feel free to drop us a comment. Tell us that we're ding dongs because we paint bad.
Yeah.
Tell us how awesome LVO is going to be this year. How you're sad that you're missing out. Right. I'm so excited that we're running the world's biggest event. The biggest. And I can't wait to share what every single event should be with all of you. Yeah. Yeah.
Our socials. We're on Instagram. We're on YouTube.
Yeah.
We're probably on Facebook.
Probably.
And so we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Yeah, we will. Peace out.
Peace out.
The Squad Games podcast is a production of Squad Games Entertainment. For more information on Squad Games, please visit our website at lestersworkshop.com/squad-games.